Okay, this video is on another perpetual energy device idea. Perpetual energy device number 2. Okay, this is based on gravity and magnetism. Let's see if we got that centered. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. You've seen probably the flashlights, and if you can see this, you have a magnetic little silver thing right there that's floating around in there. Is a magnet that's running through a coil of copper, and it basically agitates the atoms in the copper. The magnet does as it's floating back and forth through the copper. Using that idea, let's take the magnet. Okay, magnets usually look like this, or some type of length, and they have 2 ends, the 2 poles, north and south. Let's put that in the middle of a sphere, and then run this down a track like this. Now each leg of this track is a little bit lower at the end than it is at the beginning. So like right here to here, it's going at a downward angle. The second leg right here, this end is a little bit lower than this end. So this ball with the magnet in it is wanting to roll down this track like this. And this is a top view. See? And when it finally gets, and this is going to be a top view, and what we're doing is actually looking at it moving out to the side, but as it's moving out to the side, what happens is this is going to be lower. Here's a side view of it. You got that same circle, and it's going to look more like this, like they're really close together. Like you can't really tell that there's a whole lot of difference between the legs because you're looking at a side view. Now they're they're moving out to the side like this. This is a top view. This is a side view. What you want to do is this thing's going to go out to the side, and you're going to have all of these legs going as far as you can, maybe a 1 degree downgrade with each leg, which actually down would be that way. For this one, down is this way, down is that way. So each one of these legs is a little bit going at a slight angle downward as we're going down like this. Okay. When we finally get to that last leg down here, what we want it to do is curve back around and come up underneath this one. Because this is a side view, it's going to go over here, and it's going to go right underneath this one. That actually shouldn't be there. It's going to come and curve and be right underneath this one. So that the distance right here is a very short distance from here to here. While the distance that this magnet has covered all throughout this track, going down these legs, is a long distance. And what you have on this track is all these coils of copper wiring, just like you would for generators. Now whether this is supposed to be segmented or not, I don't know. That's where the experts, you guys out there, can tell me. I don't know if this is supposed to look like just one long copper coil. I understand the concept that the copper wiring wound in a circle, and basically almost like a tube-like circle, and letting a magnet go through the tube with the copper wiring on it agitates the atoms in the copper wiring and creates electricity. So again, this one's going to come back around and back underneath that one. A final leg is going to end up coming underneath this one, so that the distance from here is the top view, so you really can't see the distance. We're just looking down, and it's going to end up coming straight back where it started. Here's the starting point. Side view. It's going to keep going down this legs because we have the magnet in the middle of like a sphere. It's going to roll. We're going to have a slight downgrade for each leg, and it's covering all this distance. Each one of these legs, you add up all that distance. That's a lot of distance where it's going through this track, which is actually kind of not really proportional to what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be able to go through this copper wiring, so it should be small. But that's so you can see where the sphere starts at and where it ends at. It's right there. Start, end. Top view, side view, starts here and keeps going down the track, and it's actually moving out this way But to allow each leg to go down a little bit, it has to pull out a little bit with the legs. You have to have a little bit of distance between each leg. Top view, side view. When a final leg comes back like this, and comes back right underneath here, what we do is take all the electricity that's generated by going through all of this length of track, creating all this electricity using gravity and over a long period of time, just enough angle on each leg to get a little bit lower each leg until it finally comes down to the ground. It's gone through all this distance, all these legs added up is a lot of distance to create all this electricity during that whole accumulated distance that it's gone through all these legs. And all you need to do is move it from here to there to start the whole process again. And what it is, you got this little device, I don't know what you do, like maybe a little arm that kind of just grabs the wheel, the sphere, picks it up and puts it back there to start again. Then if you get this sphere going, and it gets down to here, you might be able to start a second one. And if while that one's going and it gets on the third leg, the second one's on the second leg, you might be able to start another one and have all these spherical magnets going through this track, creating electricity. And again, when they get to the end, something just kind of moves the sphere from the ground level back up to the top so it can start all over again. And that's what's going to create electricity. Okay, so that's the idea.